Hey YouTube, Doug Wallman here. So today I want to share some poetry, kind of poetry slash essay. I'm not sure which it is. I think it's kind of an essay that's inspired by some poetic type influences, shall we say. And it's not by me, it's by a gentleman named Andy Squyres. I think I'm pronouncing his name a little closer this time to how it should be. Andy Squyres. And I did share some of his stuff previously, but this time that one was about I missed the rapture or something like that. This one's quite different. And then after that, I think I want to make an attempt at sharing my own essay, which by comparison is quite different, but I'm inspired just by kind of the spirit behind it. So let's begin reading. It's from May 29th, 2024. I think that's when he posted this on Instagram, on his Instagram account. Essay. You are a regular person with a job and a daily life. Here is a prophetic word for you. You are not special. You are a regular person with a job and a daily life. You are not a history maker. You have a destiny, but it's a regular one. You will never be a household name. You are not a revolution. You do not hold the line. You won't win the argument. You won't be in the ministry, but if you find someday that you are, don't count on being successful. You will find yourself living in the middle of a temporary kingdom, and you will plant a garden. The garden you plant will not be an idealized, romanticized kind. It will be the kind where your lack of a green thumb will hound you for the first few years, where the reality of weeds and pests and ill-conceived irrigation systems will force you to surrender some of your original assumptions about the universe. You will be abased and you will abound. Make sure you know how to do both. You will have one or two friends. Let them encourage you with candy bars and Mountain Dew. Some of your days will be wonderful, but most of them will be boring. Never mind that. There is nothing like a boring day for being alive and thanking God. You will be met with the temptation to long for the good old days, back when God used to show up and do things. Don't you dare do it. Don't be afraid of being in exile in a strange season. Economic forces will cause migration. You may migrate. Blessed are you when you no longer have any context for what is happening. Blessed are you when you are drowning in the flood of critical analysis being offered. Let me read that again. Blessed are you when you are drowning in the flood of critical analysis being offered. Blessed are you when every North Star has vaporized. Embrace the dryness of your heart. Embrace your lack of words. Embrace the lack of ecstasy and revelation. Go to the movies. Go fishing. Get some work done. Have some kids. Don't go into debt as much as possible. As far as your salvation goes, your devotion to God counts for absolutely nothing. Andy Squyres. Essay. You are a regular person with a job and a daily life. I actually found that quite awesome. My response to it, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I like that. I know most people probably within the faith community may or may not like it. Probably a lot of them wouldn't like it. But I find my place in faith to be one of, or in the faith community, should I say? Yeah, I want to reemphasize that. My place within the faith community is one of support, but it's also one of being, and what's the word I'm looking for? Subversive. I find myself to be supportive but subversive, and I find this perfect in that context to be that way. I wasn't able to come up with words quite like that, but that's the kind of words I'm looking for in my heart. And I found it, and I totally resonated with that, almost beyond belief. But then I did finally, just today, I came up with my own essay. It was kind of off the cuff, and really for a lot of this, I was just laying in bed resting with stuff. I was kind of not quite asleep. Probably actually, I was quite a ways away from being in total slumberland, but I was a little more relaxed. Okay, so stuff was starting to come to me. Well, let me read this. The tie that binds us. And this is by me, Doug Wallman. The tie that binds us. We were set free, whether we hated it or learned to love it. It's hard for people to deal with me and my brokenness, but also it's hard for me to handle people in their unbrokenness and how they've managed to pull all their broken pieces together and not let any light shine through the cracks. The light shines upon them as if they were standing as an entire piece of healthy, beautiful wholeness to behold. And behold them, I do. Don't hate me because I'm a beautiful masterpiece. Well, of course not. How such a person discovers how to bask in the light in that way is their business, of course. But it's not a business, yet they make it so, and so it is. They're not dishonest. They're honestly holding it together, as it were. Not a facade. But not nearly as forthcoming as light that shines up close and personal through the broken places. Yet if we honestly let it all go, we'd probably be left holding but one tiny piece, if any at all. So I completely understand how each incomplete fragment is dear to the heart of the matter, no matter how we choose to hold each part of ourselves. We may otherwise, without such wisdom, let each part of ourselves drop to the floor in some form of surrender, as it were. It's only a form, or a mess, or the mess and fuss of holding a form and to a form. Again, not a facade, just how different people respond. So what's a fragment of wholeness to do? With no other choice left, we all but present ourselves to the light until such a time as the light meets us in our darkness, where we hold our stuff together so tightly so as not to let the light shine through. But it came through for us anyway, despite how we held it so tightly together in such a gracious but near rigid perfect bind. Let me read that again, because I kind of messed up. But it came through anyway, despite how we held it so tightly together in such a gracious but rigid near perfect bind. We were set free, whether we hated it or learned to love it. And I kind of opened with that line, and I ended with that line. We were set free, whether we hated it or learned to love it. Anyway, those are my, what do you call it? Kind of poetic style. Well, I actually asked AI, what is this? Is this like what did I say? What did I ask it? I said, what is what I wrote called then? Because I was asking it about what's an essay versus a poem. Now, as far as I did subject my writings to AI or meta AI, but I never had it help me with any words. I think actually it didn't recommend the word fragment, but when it offered me feedback as to what I did gain one word from it, but it was only a word as fragment, but I already know that word and use it often anyway. But it didn't really help me with any structuring or didn't offer me any feedback in terms of how to improve it. I have asked that before in other writings, but this time I left it more up to me, and I was just asking it what it thought, more or less. I didn't even ask that, but it knows what I want anymore. I was really asking it, what's an essay versus a poem? An essay and a poem are two distinct forms of writing that serve different purposes and have unique characteristics. I won't get into all that. It says, your writing style is quite unique and blends elements of both poetry and prose. So we'll just go with that. I don't want to get too much into the feedback of what AI has to offer. I was a little curious though, even with Andy's, is that more poetic in fashion and structure, or is that more an essay? I was just curious. But really it's the thoughts that I had when I observe, I guess, people, maybe in that case, more women, but even, I suppose even guys. And I wasn't trying to create a critique, so I softened it up. There was kind of a little critique in there, but I kind of softened it and then reflected on my own behavior, which I kind of discovered it's kind of all the same difference. Whether we make the fuss of holding ourselves together or whether we propose that we're surrendering and just giving up and letting it all go. You know, in the name of surrender, it could be kind of just giving up and a cop-out, but, you know, there could be some authenticity either way. Definitely. Some people just can't let go. I know I've seen people, their parents had expectations, you know, about their grades and being all perfect. I don't know, I've seen other things. I've just observed a lot of behaviors and things. Personalities are really interesting to behold. You know, you see someone at work or wherever, and, you know, kind of inquire a little bit into their social media account, and they tell you they have an account, but they haven't used it for years. And I wasn't a creep. I didn't look until maybe a year and a half later. I did kind of inquire. Yeah, sure enough, they haven't been on for years. And I just kind of wondered, it's our culture to present ourselves on social media. So either that's a really awesome religious practice, maybe not even religious, but sort of a spiritual and emotional, maybe even a social way of presenting yourself. It is just disengaging from social media. Some people do that, and that probably is healthy to some extent, but it's also our culture and how we engage. It just kind of makes me wonder what happened or how people form. When you look at a forest of trees all twisted up, you kind of wonder how. And I'm assuming there's twistedness, right? Well, it may not be that way at all. It could be totally different. So I'm already introducing my own glass or my own perspective into how I expect what caused their decisions, good or bad or indifferent. Anyway, I'm going too far with this kind of stream of consciousness, just kind of going for it and kind of ruminating, and the word everyone else uses is, I'm just kind of, going off the cuff. Can't even think of the right word, blabbing. Anyway, that's it. I got to end the video because, I haven't been on for a while, and I can kind of tell I need to kind of keep at it, but I also need to take care of myself, and that's balancing those things out. I love being on YouTube and presenting ideas, thoughts, or just what I'm doing. But also, it can be taxing if you take it too far, just for the sake of your channel. So just so I don't ramble, there's the word I was looking for. Decided to quit rambling. I think I'll end the video, but hopefully it was a good ramble, and I did actually share some pre-thought out concepts there in form of either it was poetry to you or an essay, or it was total nonsense, I suppose. But no, I think there was some form and structure to that, even though it may not be really a line upon line scholastic type essay, but I think there's some form and some pose to it at least, and I hope you appreciated it. Well, we better end it, man. I'm just kind of blowing hot air, though. I don't think I was earlier, though. I think I was really sharing some Awesome insight. I really appreciate Andy Squyres' work. Check him out. I think he has a new album out, and I checked it out today. Let me see what the name of that was. Look in my history. So the songs inside the album: Bad Decisions, Utah by Tomorrow, Dancing in the Kitchen, There's No Way That I Can Love You Anymore. And there's also another album, Poet Priest. That's pretty cool. So I encourage you to check that out. Yeah, Sacred Vows. And the first song is Dancing in the Kitchen. Sacred Vows, Andy Squyres. Look it up on, well, I prefer YouTube, of course, but I'm imagining or assuming, better stop, I don't want to create copyright issues. I really like the first song, Dancing in the Kitchen. There's some lines in there that are really cool. One of them was even about snapping a towel at your thigh, but the way he did it was pretty cool. Putting my lips on your mouth, closing the door. I think he's talking about his wife. He has a picture of him and his wife in their early years. It almost looked like some kind of Microsoft Word attempt at doing art, or some 1990s attempt at the artwork, but I actually like it. It's like a pink cover, Sacred Vows, and I think he's open to other artistic renditions of his artwork, of his cover art, I should say. But I'm kind of rambling. I'll let the video end, and we will see you in the next one. Hope you don't mind. It's just kind of a Saturday. I actually had canned chili that was expired 2 years. I'm not sick. I tasted it. It tasted fine. So it's just a fall day, an autumn day here, and I'm just kind of chilled out, and it kind of shows through in my video. I think that I'm hopefully not too much in performance mode. I don't know, maybe I should be just a tiny little bit so I don't come across all miscombobulated, but it is what it is, and I hope you appreciate it, actually. The authentic Doug Wallman. I could probably be more authentic, but we're working on it. In case you lose all your marbles, there they are. There was some kind of tag on there, something about, I don't remember what it said, but it had to do with your marbles. Anyway, we will end the video for sure, because I'm not getting any closer to saying much of anything, but sometimes we need that. All right. See you in the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe. We need it. We need it. Thank you, Jesus.